Hello there, I'm Martin Smith and this is my video for assignment 6. I'm looking at assignment 5 and sorting out what question I could follow into assignment 6. I thought of the idea of art in fashion and using that as my question. With my interest in Elsa Schiaparelli and how she used the Surrealism artist Salvador Dali's and the painting he did, the three young surrealists, and she created the lovely tear dress. And as an admirer of Elsa's work, I found out that there was a collection of her works at the V&A, and it just so happens at that time I had a trip planned to London booked. So I booked a time slot for the collection. It was free, so that was lucky. And I also phoned the V&A about booking a slot to go behind the scenes and looking at more other items they have in storage, but this wasn't available as they're moving everything to a different site, and maybe in the future this would be possible. So instead I brought myself the little book, and it's really interesting as well. It's got a story of her in there, and there's the tear dress that she made as well. So it's got so much fabulous stuff of her work and everything else she'd done in there. I'm just going to put it down there, sorry about that. And so the behind the scenes wasn't available, but when I got there, when we got to London, we went to the information desk, and I asked if I could take photos. They said yes, without a flash, please don't use the flash, which was fine with me. And I also asked if there's anyone there I could talk to or interview about the collection itself, and unfortunately there was no one available, and it wasn't possible. So the collection was smaller than I hoped. I was expecting more, to be honest, but there we go. But it was still interesting because there was just Elsa's work there and Charles James, and they had his gold dress which was cut on the bias, and that just was, to me, was just amazing. It was on a showroom dummy thing, and the way it fitted that was just perfect, and the way it was cut and round the bust area, the way, it was just, it blew me away. And then Elsa work on the jacket, the glass little things that she's sewn on, and lamb chops. I didn't get the lamb chop thing myself, maybe she's having a joke, but out of all the things she could have embroidered it onto a jacket, I would have chose lamb chops, but there we go. But the sewing was just incredible, outstanding, and the embroidery on everything was just amazing. I was really taken back with all that. And I was finding the collection was making me envy because of how well everything was sewn together from back then. And it's sort of encouraging me to look at my own way of sewing and how I can do maybe things different. And I've never cut on the bass or used silk as a dress, and I was thinking of perhaps making something like this on my dummy, cutting on the bass and using a silk fabric, and just experimenting. So this is what this assignment is encouraging me to do in moving forward in my own sewing. And talking of cutting on the bass, we have Madame Vera, sorry I can't pronounce the name very well, and I didn't discover till I got back from London. Otherwise, when I was at the V&A, because she had an interest in the Greek, the Roman Greeks, the statues, all that sort of thing, and I would have looked for the Greek statues to see the draping, how it was on there, how the artist of the stonework had sort of cut out this draping which she was so keen on. And again, she cuts on the bass and it hugs the body so nicely, and yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. So so moving on from sort of the way statues are draped and the way she's sort of used draping, then I was looking at my own draping, and I didn't go down the route of, which is so quite easy, of using the internet, any platforms, YouTube or Pinterest. I just used what was in my head. I've got a stash of fabric and different types, so I also mixed the different types together as well, and I was lucky enough to find a local artist in Cardiff who paints similar, who she likes James Pollock, and Michelle Rowlands, her name is, and she sort of copies his style. And my only regret is I didn't give her a bigger sheet of fabric. I wish I gave her a square metre, but I didn't. I just gave her this small little scrag. But anyway, it worked a treat. I hope you can see that. I can't see what I'm doing. Come back a bit. There we go. I'll come forward. And she also signed it, which I didn't expect. There we go. It's just there. She's just, I don't know if you can see that on there, but she just sort of scribbled her initials on there, and it was very good of her to do that, and she didn't charge me for it, so that was even better. But I really enjoyed the draping, and it made me realise I don't do enough of it and I should do more, and it's maybe something I should think about before making an item, or if I have a client or something, maybe I should be a bit more free with my choice and everything. But it was great fun doing the draping and mixing all the fabrics, and that was just fun. My survey I wasn't sure about, but I put together some questions. I posted it on Facebook, and I put it into the UK sewing group, thinking that would be the best place to do it. Sort of people sort of, you know, home sewers more than home sewers really. And I had quite a good response. I had a couple of people who were a bit iffy with me, but once I explained what was going on, one wanted to know who my teacher was, what college, this and that and the other, what's their email address. But once I sort of messaged her and we had a little chat, she was fine, and I explained that everything would be deleted. People who had left comments and messages were absolutely brilliant, wanted to know more, and I just said all that would just disappear. It was just the votes that I was interested in, and what had the most votes was the red carpet, not the red carpet, sorry, the catwalk. Is it art or is it fashion? And most people, the highest votes was that it was more art than actual fashion. It wasn't something they could go out, they feel they could buy on the catwalk stuff. But that was quite interesting. A few people got confused with, maybe it's where I set the question, catwalk and red carpet. A few people said that the red carpet models are too thin, so I think they're getting sort of film stars, unless they think the film stars are too thin. Anyway, that's another story. And but it's the catwalk, I think they're sort of thinking, and yeah, so that was that. It was really interesting, and also that people sort of thought modern art was had more votes than classical art, the Mona Lisa sort of paintings, that sort of thing, Claude Monet and you know, the Impressionists and that, and they just didn't seem to be interested in that. They seemed to be more interested in the art, the pop art, and these days you can get anything printed on a t-shirt. Yeah, so it came to my sketching and thinking where to go with this, because there's just so much out there. So I chose Van Gogh, and I chose his almond blossom painting, and I did a collage with that one. There we go. So I'll just show you. That'll be it. But it's sort of turquoise background with white flowers, and yeah, that's just collage cut out, stuck down, but that would be very nice in a silk. And then I did a Chinese brush painting one, where the girl was standing on a mountain rather, and she had a parasol and the wind was blowing and the dress was in the wind, but it was a big sort of gowny dress, so I turned it into something like this. And the parasol I turned from, it was on a shoulder, but I've turned it into a hat. I mean, I could get that hat quite easily made up. There's quite a few hat people who would probably like that challenge. And I want to do things that if someone asked in the future date, could you make me that? And I'll say, yeah, I can do that. So that was that. And then I used the surreal artist Boral Parsons, tailored for the dames, tailor for women, and I did this, and it's, except for the hat, but it's sort of basically cloaks on top of cloaks and trousers, but that's all easily could be made up. And that was hard because there's just so much choice out there. I didn't know where to go with that, and I was like, you know, I've got to stick to the course. So that was that sort of thing. And talking of art, Christian Dior, using one of Claude Monet's paintings, one of his paintings of his garden, and he made these dresses completely covered in flowers with colours of violet, purples, blues, reds, and it was his 1949 spring summer collection, and the embroidery must have taken ages. He obviously had a team of people, but yeah, they look amazing. So at the time I was doing this, my research for Monet and his paintings, I came across some fabric which I bought, and it's a digital print of Monet's lilies, a lily pond. I hope you can see that. I can't see the camera. So the idea is I'm going to make a nice little summer shirt for myself with my new techniques of sewing, and it's 3 meters long, and there should be enough to make a waistcoat as well. So I'll be a pretty handsome chap when all that's done. It's just finding the time, because of these assignments take most of it. Sorry about that. So again, anything really can be used as art in fashion. Let's go back to James Pollock. His paintings, some of them are huge, and they're used as a backdrop for fashion, for photograph people to take photographs of the latest fashions. I didn't say that very well, sorry. And yeah, so it can be used as a backdrop. T-shirts now, people are more interested in t-shirts, and you can get anything printed on. You know, if you go to Paris, you get the Eiffel Tower printed on a t-shirt. It's there, you know, it just goes on. And so I think we've come to the end. So thank you very much for listening, and let's do this again sometime. All right, ciao.